A pleasant Thursday and welcome to Lone Star Park at Grand Prairie. It's the final week of the Fall Meeting of Champions featuring American Quarter Horses, and tonight, Arabians will start and end the card with the Arabians on track. And with Rodney Nelson, I'm Jim Byers. It's another beautiful evening, 76 right now, a fast track, and we are ready to get into a 12-race card, longer than usual on this Thursday. We'll have a dozen tomorrow and Saturday as well. Saturday wrapping it up with the Texas Classic races, the Refrigerator. So it's going to be a big week.
Yeah, it's going to be a big weekend for racing. You mentioned the temperature is supposed to be like that all weekend long. So 3 perfect nights of racing is the way I look at it. 12 races a night, like you said. A lot of opportunities to make some money. A big carryover in the Super High Five as well. So maybe you'll get lucky and someone will hit that tonight.
Yeah, keep an eye on those on the graphics, because we'll be rotating the carryovers. Should the High Five and or the Pick 5 or Pick 6 carry over to Saturday, then there'll be a mandatory payout that day, but somebody might hit it in advance. We've seen that happen before, heading to a mandatory payout day. The carryover builds a little and more people start playing it and someone walks away with it. On to the first. Maiden Claimers, 3-year-olds and up, Arabians going 5.5 furlongs, $10,000 is the price tag. And I see you are going against the morning line favorite in here, Easter Dude AA, who is 7-5.
Yeah, I'm going to go against Easter Dude AA. Not my usual pick in an Arabian race to go against Ernesto Torres, but today I think there might be an upset in the making. I went with number 8, WMA Nash Rambler. This horse has the most experience this year, been in 14 different races so far in 2025. Has, few second-place finishes from those races, including the most recent race. That was a maiden special weight right here going 6.5. Ran a good second in that one. If you look at the race before that, you see a 5.5 furlong race like we're going tonight. That was at the $10,000 maiden claiming level, just like this race tonight. And WMA Nash Rambler was just beaten by 3 in that race. If you look at the last 4, had a couple seconds and a couple fourths out of those last 4 races. I think this one could get up from the outside for an upset here in the opener. I did take Easter Dude AA as my second choice. This horse was had a third place finish last time out. Pretty much the same race, maiden claiming for $10,000 at 5.5 furlongs. But the races before that kind of made me think a little bit. The other one here at Lone Star Park for $15,000 was a 6th place finish. Then if you look at the 2 before that came at Rotama this year, was beaten by 31 and 41 lengths in those 2 races. So a question mark for me for Easter Dude AA. But I did pick the horse second, and then I got WMA Wild Kisses, the 5 horse, as my third, coming in here off a 3rd place finish.
Yeah, there's some in here that have had a lot of chances. WMA Wild Kisses, one of those. WMA Nash Rambler has tried 21 times unsuccessfully to break her maiden. I went with Easter Dude partially because I thought that last race was pretty good. Fergus MHF and WMA Minute Maid had a really nice battle. Now, Minute Maid came back and did not run well last week at all. Fergus MH is in the race later on tonight that wraps up the program, so we might get a little idea on how Easter Dude runs, whether that was a dud race or a good race. If Easter Dude runs well, then that would bode well for Fergus MHF coming up later on tonight, but that we'll have to wait and see. Like you mentioned, the summer races for this 3-horse were not good at all in any respect, but they bet him a lot, so they obviously thought that he had credentials. At least he had the barn credentials. He's run a little better here. He did run slightly better than Nash Rambler 2 starts ago on October 23rd. That was the last start for Easter Dude, not the last start for WMA Nash Rambler. One note, forget the equipment change indicated in the program for the 7 Flying J Storm. She added the blinkers last time, not tonight, so no equipment change for the 7 in race 1. Second race, scratch the 6, Miranda's Moneymaker. That reduces it to a field of 6. These are maiden 3-year-olds and up. The conditions in my program just say 3-year-olds, but there is an older one in here. In fact, it was Miranda's Moneymaker. In fact, maybe this race was limited to 3-year-olds, and that's why she was a steward scratch.
Could be.
I forgot to inquire about that. But either way, now it's all 3-year-olds going 330.
Yeah, I got Lovin' Freight Train B, the horse on the inside rail. You can see back in 24, I mean, this horse went to the racetrack 10 different times, finished in the money in 5 of those 10 races. Has only had 1 start this year, but, that was fairly recent. That was back on the 23rd of October. Ran second in that maiden race and was just beaten by a neck in that one. So I'm going to give Lovin' Freight Train B the check mark, that second start after a layoff. I got the 4, the Captain's Lady, as my second choice here. This horse was in an allowance race last time out. Finished 7th in that one of 8. But the race before that was a pretty close-up maiden race, only missing by a length in that one. We've seen Rosario Tejadas come back and run fairly well. There was a next-out winner that ran second in that race as well. And then I got number 5, Hada Lada, as my third choice here. Comes in here off a 300-yard race back on the 23rd of October, behind by 2 lengths. That was the same one that Lovin' Freight Train B was in. But if you look at the comments there, this horse was off slow in that race. So hopefully with a better start, you'll see a better result. 1, 4, and 5's here what I got for race 2.
Yeah, I'm a solid 1-4 as well. I'm throwing in the 2 Red Bottoms and Pearls, just to see if a firster might be able to get on the board. Her works are pretty good. Lovin' Freight Train B has been around a while. I mean, has lit the board quite a few times. Usually runs competitively, and that's a good sign. I'm gonna give her the pick. She's gonna be a short price. She's been running well, really consistent. So I think this may be her night. That is a Paint Appaloosa race, and so is race 3. 2-year-olds going 330 yards. There are no changes in here, and this one, to me, so wide open. I mean, we both wound up on Cholula Sinn Fein, but man, there's a lot of these come out of the same race, and then you throw in Taki, who comes in from Will Rogers, who had a pretty good race last time out. So, this is one you could kind of throw a blanket on it. And plus, we have 2 Hawk Tuas in the same race, so you gotta love that.
It's a good race for the handicapper, right? All these horses spread out. Should get some good odds on no matter who you're going to bet. Cholula Sinn Fein, my top choice, your top choice as well. I mean, this horse has been a runner-up in 2 of the last 3 races. One of those was a stakes race. That was the first start of the meet for Cholula Sinn Fein, but it was a solid second in that stakes race there. The one in between those 2 seconds, threw a kind of a clunker out in that one, but if you look at the comments, traffic early, no kick is what it says. So let's kick that one to the side. Look at those 2 of those last 3. I think Cholula Sinn Fein is a winner here. The 5-horse, Hawk Tua, that's going to be my second selection. This horse came close last time out. I mean, that was a 300-yard race. Hawk Tua ended up running 5th in that one, was only beaten by half a length. You see this horse was stakes placed down at Sam Houston as well. I think there's a lot to like about this filly. And then number 2, Usdi Sawu. That's going to be my third choice here. It's another one. Almost picked up the win last time out. Missed by a neck in that one. Ended up 3rd in that race after crossing the finish line 4th. A couple races before that, I mean, this horse had trouble in those. But if you look 2 starts back at Will Rogers, had a solid runner-up spot there. I think this horse is good enough to get up and hit the board. 3, 5, and 2 in race 3.
Yeah. 2, 3, 4, and 5 all come out of the same race here on the 30th of October, and it was a blanket finish, as you can see in here. I went back to the 3, really ran a strong race that time, and just missed to a horse named Dashing Cholitos. Taki is interesting to me. I charted his race at Will Rogers. He didn't have the worst start of all time, but he just didn't get out overly fast. I put the comment gaining on him. It doesn't look like gaining in the line. He was a head back and then a half length back. I think he gained on the others. He wasn't gaining on the winner. I might have needed to rethink that. I mean, he ran a nice race, though, and that was his first race against paints. His first 2 races were against quarter horses, and you got to give him a little extra star for that one because quarter horses generally, give the dual registered horses, a pretty good test. On to the 4th. 3-year-olds and up. Non-winners of 2 other than or non-winners of 3 lifetime are the 2 ways you can get in here. 440 yards, the distance.
Yeah, I think this is Top Cowboys race, the number 7. If you look, this horse only been in stakes races so far this year. Does have a second and a third place effort from those 4 stakes, including the most recent one. That was the B.F. Phillips Jr. Stakes. That one went 400 yards. Ended up the runner-up in that one. I thought that was a pretty good race. The horse that finished third, Just Louisiana Girl, a very solid horse as well there. But Top Cowboy, I think this is the one that takes it. I mean, if you look, this horse has gone the quarter mile 7 different times, has a couple seconds and a couple thirds from those efforts. I think this is the one they're all going to be chasing. I got the stablemate Louisiana Mystery as my second choice here. I think this horse is solid in this spot. You know, if you look at the last 2 races, both of them coming at 440 yards. Won the one 2 starts back to break the maiden. Most recent one in a one other than allowance race. Just missed by a neck in that one, so it was close up there in that one. I think Louisiana Mystery, you should watch this horse as well. And then I took the 8 favorite, Kali Cartel, as my third choice. Comes in here straight off a win from a 440-yard race. So we'll see what these horses can do. I like the experience for these 3 that I picked here, 7, 4, and 8.
Yeah, and favorite Kali Cartel did just finish a neck in front of Louisiana Mystery in their respective last races on October 4th. They seem pretty evenly matched to me. I think Top Cowboy, you know, those Texas-bred 50-grand stakes, the Blodgett and the B.F. Phillips, those are tough, especially the way I'm a Chili's been running. And this guy last time was real competitive in the B.F. Phillips. One horse I'm curious to see about is the 2 SS Kratos. This horse at one time was a pretty nice horse. If you go back, I mean, he was running against maidens in 24, but he was running against some good maidens and running solidly. If you go back to even farther, which I had the opportunity to do in the Daily Racing Form PPs, if you go back even farther than these, well, actually, no, these are the 10 races. This is it, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. No, I'm sorry, I take it back. This guy, all of his races are in here. He's run some solid ones. So he's coming off a little layoff. I'd keep an eye on him as a horse to maybe support, you know, the higher regarded ones in there. On to the 5th. I thought there was one today that I looked down off the program PPs and saw some good races, but he wasn't it. In race 5, we're looking at maiden 3 to 5-year-olds going 250. Scratch number 9, JC Flying High, and scratch the 12, Toast to Rally.
Yeah, so I'm going to be on number 4, DA Political Star. So we can see the last 2 races for this filly were both maiden races. The most recent one finished third in that one, only beaten by a length. If you look at the comments, said the horse stumbled in that race, so the winner of that one was a next out winner as well. So hopefully this horse can get out of the gate well. I think if so, we can see a DA Political Star winning this race. My second choice is going to be the 8, Dashing the Day Away. If you look at this horse has been up there close in the last 3 races, including the most recent one, which was out here. This horse does have a second place finish at this 250-yard distance as well. Last time out was only beaten by 3/4 at 220. And then I got number 7, High Dashing, as my third selection here. Overlooked that last race where the horse stumbled. You see back-to-back thirds in maiden races. Had a second at Retama Park as well. So this horse has been up there close in some of those races. I got it 4, 8, and 7 in race 5.
I went with the morning line favorite here. I seemed very chalky in these picks today. I think there's a number of them that do kind of stand out. Typically when I do that and go heavily chalk, it's not one of those really heavy chalk nights, but we'll see. FTD Cupid, the morning line favorite, comes out of a Texas Classic Derby trial where he had a little bit of trouble and then flattened out, not disgraced, beaten a little over 2 lengths, 2.5 lengths by KJ Born to Be Wild. Certainly no disgrace in that. Ran into that Call Me Karen race that DA Political Star was in on October 4th. And Call Me Karen's been a multiple winner this meet. Prior to that was in the Dash for Cash trials and was behind the eventual fastest qualifier at the time, Jesse's First Card. Was well beaten there, but suffice to say, FTD Cupid has been running against some good ones. We'll see how he comes out and fares today. He'll be a heavy favorite. Unfortunately, I'm kind of deep in those here tonight, except for one race where I scratch into a real bomb. We'll get to that here in a little bit. Race 6, 350 yards. These are 2-year-old non-winners of 2. and they're in for $25,000.
I went with the inside horse, number 1, Pick and Roll. This horse is, you see, allowance races, futurity trials. Last time out in an allowance race right here, ran pretty well, just missed by a head in that race. If you look to the last time that this horse was in for a tag, was a winner. That was the maiden-breaking win for Pick and Roll. Was in for $15,000 down at Sam Houston and got that maiden-breaking win. But since then, a couple seconds in allowance races, I think this horse could be pretty solid here. Number 2, Yummy's Cartel. That's going to be my second choice. 10-1 on the line here. In that last race right here at 350 yards, the horse broke out in that one. It says no factor. You can see they're finished 8 of 9, beaten by 3.5. But if you look at the 3 races before that, you see this horse had a first, a second, and a third. That second coming to futurity trial. The win was in a maiden claiming race at Remington at 250 yards. And then that one that was 2 starts back was a third-place finish, only beaten by a half a length right here at 330 yards. That's Yummy's Cartel. Pretty decent morning line odds on this horse. And then I took number 7, Hawk Your Kisses, as my third selection here. This horse is running 2 juvenile stakes this year. One of them in Oklahoma, also ran the TQHA Sales Juvenile. So 2 pretty decent races there for Hawk Your Kisses. Had some trials sprinkled throughout there. Most recent race was an allowance race right here. We'll see if this horse can't get up and run good. You got a good jockey-trainer combo, so I don't think you could leave this one out of the top 3. It's 1, 2, and 7 for me in race 6.
Yeah, I went ahead and put him in 4th, but definitely has credentials. I threw in a last-out maiden winner, Jess Drive, who I was impressed with last time for very hot connections of Angel and Victor Fierro. I threw him in for 3rd. But, yeah, Pick and Roll, that was a really good duel last time. Jess missed. Time before just got eliminated with traffic trouble and rough racing at the start. Just bumped and broke in and bumped and eliminated. You throw that 2 races ago out, and most of them are pretty good performances, so I went with him. Yummy's Cartel is intriguing to me because 2 races ago he raced on Lasix. He ran a close 3rd here opening weekend. Then they took him off Lasix, and I never really look at the horse weights, but he gained 36 pounds going off Lasix. From 986 to 1022. I think that's 36 pounds. 14 and 22, yeah.
It's close enough.
I don't know what that means. It's not a big percentage of their body weight. A horseman would have to tell us. But then the horse came out against Allowance Company and broke out and did nothing. I'm thinking getting back in here might be better. No sooner did I do this math about horse weights, but I looked at Pick and Roll, and from September 13th to October 18th, he gained 89 pounds, and there was no medication change there. 89 pounds is about 8% of that horse's body weight.
Within a month. Horse was hungry.
Seems like a lot.
Horse was hungry, no doubt.
Might be time for a little equine Ozempic. But again, a horseman would have to say whether that's a big deal or not. Most of these weights, and I don't really look at them, but most of them stay pretty consistent. Remarkably consistent, really. On to the 7th. I'd actually be a little more concerned about a rapid weight drop.
Yeah,
like
100 pounds less.
Yeah, something like that if they're shedding weight. On to the 7th. This is a good race. This is a really good race. Not easy to zero in on a winner for me here. 330 yards, 2-year-old non-winners of 2. Take out the 11 and 12, the Alsons.
All right, so we got the same top 3, just in a different order. Let me make a case for number 7, Flying, here for being my top choice. Take a look at this horse's past performances. You see the race 2 starts back, finished 10 of 10 in that trial race at the Downs at Albuquerque. Let's kick it to the curb and look at the other ones. If you get rid of that one, this horse would have had 3 second-place finishes in a row, only beaten by half a length at the greatest. Was a third-place finisher before that. We saw this horse qualify for the West Texas Futurity earlier this year at Sunland. Won the trial race to get into that one. So, really, if you kick out that stakes race, that grade 2 stakes race where the horse ran 9 of 10, but lunged at the start, get rid of that one, get rid of the 1-2 starts back. And, this horse is right up there, finishing first, second, or third every time out. I think that Flying, from those credentials, this horse could have a pretty good run. Seems to get out of the gate well, gets up there toward the front early on. So going 330 tonight, I think this is going to be a nice spot for Flying. I took the 1, Trace Times, the Cowboy, as my second choice. beaten by 3/4 of a length last time out in an allowance race. Came close the race before that, missing by a neck in that trial for the Dash for Cash futurity. And then I got the 5 Tornado Dynasty as my third choice. Last 2 races for this gelding have been pretty decent right here on our track. A first and a second, missing by a neck last time out in that allowance race. We'll see what happens. It's going to be a fun one. 7, 1, and 5 for race 7.
Yeah, in Tornado Dynasty's case, his E-Speed figure was terrific last time. His other E-Speed figures, not so much, even though he ran a really nice race of breaking his maiden in September. Trace Time's a cowboy. Mario Delgado, outstanding rider from Oklahoma, comes down for this mount for Juvenal Licona Vasquez, who won a couple of races on Saturday. That doesn't show up in the program, but he's actually, I think he was the one. Was he the one that won, or was it Leonel Hernandez? No, I think it was Juvenal. I could be wrong now on that, so don't quote me on that. But nonetheless, a good barn from Oklahoma, and this horse runs nothing but good races. I like Flying, too. That trial on the 24th was a non-qualifying trial, but I don't care. Cyber Command 3 ran a great race. And it's interesting that Sergio Becerra, who is from New Mexico, not a regular member of the colony, has had a first and a second and 2 mounts here, probably both in trials, I would say in trials, and comes in for this mount tonight. So that's kind of impressive. That signals sometimes when they send a job.
Was he here Saturday, too, for the big races?
Probably.
Yeah,
He's probably
go ahead and take a nice weekend here at DFW. True. The weather's nice. Why not?
Yeah, exactly. On to the 8th. $10,000. The claiming tag here. These are non-winners of 2. Scratch the 2, Runaway Prize Dash. Scratch the 7, Straight Up Gone, and the 11, Ms. Combine Cartel. JV La Toxica, who ran here on Friday, is back. You might want to look at Equibase.com and look her up, because there's a past performance line that's in the form. It's not in the program. She ran 6th, beaten 4 lengths in a much troubled trip last time at this level.
Yeah, but I'm going to swing for the fences here in race number 8.
Me too, because I scratch into the 20-1 shot. Who are you scratching?
I got about half those morning line odds, and Wild Senorita,
we're both
the 9.
swinging away.
Yeah, so that indicates that this race is wide open, right? Anybody can win it, I guess. But Wild Senorita, I took this number 9 horse. It's had 2 starts. The very first one was a winning effort. Not bad at all. Went 250 yards that day. Won that race by 3/4 of a length. Beat JV La Toxica, who was the runner-up in that one. It went on to win his next race. And if you look at the line, said the horse bobbled and drifted in that race too. So had that little arrow for some significant trouble, but still was able to win that race. It was short, like we're going today at 250. Next time out, they stretched this horse out to 440. Didn't go as well. Finished 5th in that race. Still beat half the field, but was beaten by 2 3/4. I think going back to 250 where this horse does have that victory, we'll see if Wild Senorita can't get the job done for Angel Sanchez, who's won a ton of races this year.
Yeah.
I got the 7 Straight Up Gone as my, excuse me.
Yeah, they did bring him out.
The 10 is my second choice, Zimphy. So Zimphy, this horse was a winner last time out. Broke that maiden at this 250-yard distance by a half a length. I liked that the horse was able to pick up that win at this distance. It was here at this racetrack as well back in September. And then I got number 12, JV La Toxica, as my third choice. You mentioned that last race last Friday. Horse was in for $10,000 that day. Ran 6, beaten by 4, but was squeezed, bumped in that race. Not a very good one at all. But if you look at the one on October the 17th, you see this horse was a winner. Came at 250 yards. It says drew off in that race too, so I like that. So here in race number 8, I got it 9, 10, and 12.
Yeah, I had originally picked Runaway Prize Dash, who was kind of a standout on paper for me, even though this is certainly a wide-open race, even without the scratches. Now I scratch into the 6, Dr. Hey Dude, who's making his local debut. The 2 Will Rogers races this year, he was in way too deep, huge long shot, ran last twice, actually. So, it's always a risk picking a horse at any level that ran dead last twice. But nonetheless, those were good Oklahoma-bred allowance fields. Marla Vargas claimed this horse in June at Fair Meadows off a pretty good third against much more this level where the horse was reasonably competitive and was also 2-1. Prior to that, broke his maiden in a maiden claimer, a pretty good maiden claimer at Remington, $35,000. So when he competes with claimers, he's pretty good. He can't warm up the better allowance horses up there. So, I originally picked him second, knowing there's always a chance that becomes the horse you inherit. So that's what I get. I really liked Zimfi's last race. I mean, that was a really good performance. Quick start, showed good determination. But, we'll see. Maybe we can get one of our long shots in that.
Maybe we can make him run 1-2.
That might be a good race to spread and look for a long shot. On to the 9th. 400 yards, 3-year-olds and up. These are non-winners of a race other than or non-winners of 2 lifetime.
So let's go with the 8. AJ's Flashing the Chicks. A winner last time out. I love horses that come in here off of wins. That one came at this 400-yard distance as well. Horses had a lot of experience going 400 or greater. You can see at this distance a win and a third from 5 starts. If you look 2 starts back, this horse was in the All-American Derby. So not a bad race there to qualify and run in. Since it's worth over $1 million. But AJ's Flashing the Chicks. I think this horse can win this one. Number 7, Little Cool Cat. That's going to be my second choice. Only beaten by a length last time out. Beaten by a neck and a nose. The races before that, all those coming in allowance company. I think this horse can fit in here in this race, no doubt, and get up and hit the board. And then I got number 2, George, as my third shot. 15-1 here on George. This horse has been in a lot of tough races. But this horse qualified and ran in the Sam Houston Derby back in June. Won the trial race to get into that one. And if you look at all those races before the Sam Houston Derby, George was right up there close in every one of those races. But after that Derby, not so much. He's only had 2 races, finishing 8 and 6 in those 2. But reared up last time in that allowance race, so we'll see what happens here tonight. But I think George could have a good run at some big odds. 8-7-2 is how I see race 9.
Yeah, AJ's Flashing the Chicks. Should probably be the heaviest favorite of the day. Not that this field is by any means a pushover, because I don't believe that it is. But, like you mentioned, last time broke his maiden. This is one of these horses that had run pretty well in making the Oklahoma Derby and Open Grade 3 back in the spring, making the All-American Derby, one of the sport's richest and best races. Yeah, ran last in that, but was only beaten 4 lengths, and those are the best 3-year-olds. And, ran well in some trials, was a really handy winner of the maiden race last time. Little Cool Cat definitely likes a dry track, the 7, and is going to get it tonight. Last time out, ran in behind a really Sharpie and fine wine M3 and was beaten a length on an off track. The others, Monticello might be worth a look. Got disqualified last time. Came out in front of a rival, but ran a nice race even with that. Be a Flirt might factor. George, your third pick, certainly has some credentials. On to the 5th. The 10th. I'm going to take every race number and divide it by 2, I guess. These are 3-year-olds and up in race 10 who have started for any claiming tag this year, and they're going 250. Scratch the 2 alsos.
Yeah, let's take the number 7, Good Time in Texas here. This horse was in a starter race last time out, won that race. It was a short one, 220 yards. Horse was up there toward the front the whole way down the racetrack. Race before that was an allowance race. Finished 6 of 10 in that one, but, had some trouble. Then you get back to some other ones. The one at Gillespie at 250 yards. You see this horse was a third-place finisher. That was a stakes race down there. Only missed by a neck in that race. Ran the 250 stakes. Stumbled in that one. Still come close to beating half the field. And then the Sam Houston 250 stakes, a solid second in that one. So 250 might be the distance for this guy. We'll see if, or for her, see if she can't pick up a win here tonight. Number 1, Cartel's Favorite, 10-1 is the horse I'm taking second. Was close up last time in a 4th-place effort, only missed by half a length. Before that, Derby trial here for the Dash for Cash Derby. Ran 8 of 9 in that one. Let's toss that one to the side. But if you look, this horse was real close in the Speed Horse Derby, only missing by a neck in that one. Picked up back-to-back wins earlier this year at Remington Park. So this horse knows how to get up there and win. One of those wins came at this distance as well. Let's go ahead and take Cartel's Favorite to get up and finish in the mix. And then number 5, Corona Cobra. That's going to be my second selection, or my third choice here. 5th last time out, bumped in that race, only missed by half a length, but, that was 110 yards. Race before that was a 110 as well, running second in that one. But if you look back, this horse does have a few victories at this 250 yards, has finished third in 16, has finished in first 3 of 16 outs, also has 6 second-place finishes as well. So 9 out of 16, this horse has finished in the exacta at 250 yards. I don't see any reason why this horse can't get up and hit the board. 7-1-5 for race 10.
Yeah, I agree. He gets to do the big stretch out from 110 to 250 today. It's more than doubling the length of the race. But he's an old-timer. He's 9 years old. I mean, he's made some good money, $135K doing it in the claiming ranks. Good time in Texas. She had a trainer change. I don't know why they took this horse away from Uriegas or why he's not training her anymore. Now she's with a trainer, Ramiro Villarreal, that I don't believe has saddled a horse in a AQHA Equibase race. But nonetheless, I mean, she's going so good, you and I could probably try to saddle her and send her out there to win. RJ Goodwoman Blues, to me, made a huge bid on Halloween early on, showed really good speed, got overhauled going 350, shortens up, so watch for the 3 as well. 11th race. Because the last race tonight's an Arabian race, the 11th is the end of the pick 5 and the pick 6, and the jackpot super high 5 falls on the 11th. Carryover is 40,230. Scratch the 2 also eligibles out of this maiden race.
All right, let's go with number 2. He's No Politician. This horse has been in futurity trials, 1 maiden race. If you look at the last 3, this horse has been runner-up in all of the last 3 races, 2 of them coming right here. The most recent one was a trial for the Texas Classic Futurity, just missed by a neck in that one. I think He's No Politician. This is the time for this horse to graduate here. Number 1, Double Down Dulce. That's going to be my second selection. Last time, 2 starts back when this horse was in a maiden race, ran a good third in that one. There was a next out winner that finished second. And then I took the 3, Go Valiant Knight, as my third pick here.
Yeah, He's No Politician. Very, very solid in what was a non-qualifying trial last time. But his overall body of work, he's one of these that's just knocking on the door. He's been right there, and I think he can get the better of this field based on his recent work. Double Down Dulce, I think, is a really interesting commodity here. Last time out, ran a somewhat distant 5th in a trial, but J.C. Speeding was the number 2 qualifier for the Texas Classic, and the second-place horse, Dakota Stone, was the 20th fastest. So that was a really salty trial. Race before that, he was a pretty good third, and so I think Double Down Dulce merits a lot of attention. And El Principe Carlos, I'm not as high on him. He's dropping down, which is good, back to maidens. Unfortunately, he's dropping to a level where he failed twice as the favorite once earlier this meet. That doesn't mean he's going to fail as the favorite today, if he in fact is. Valiant Light's another one to keep an eye on, in addition to Rodney's 3. My 10 comes in off a really fast work here in mid-October, and then started in a race, was a big long shot, made up a little ground late. Watch for improvement from the 10, perhaps. Now to the 12th. Quickly, just enough time here to wrap this one up. This race was kind of gutted by scratches. Arabians going 6 furlongs, non-winners of 2. Scratched the 5, Burning Hess. Scratched the 6, Sun the Sands. That may mean that Mon Saphir ends up being a pretty or very short favorite.
Yeah, make Mon Saphir the one to beat here. This horse has been in 3 races, has a first, a second, and a third. That most recent race, which came out here on the 16th of October, a good second in that one. Give me Mon Saphir on top. I took the 7, Fergus MHF, as my second choice. The horse did win last time out. I love horses that come in and win. That was a tough Arabian race. I mean, they were dueling down the stretch of that one. Fergus MHF got his head in front when it counted. And then I took number 3, Oversand, as my third choice. This horse has had 2 races. Pretty much has nowhere to go but up from those last 2, beaten by 50 and beaten by 60, or beaten by 29 of those. So, you combine those up, and that's a lot of links behind the winners. But we'll see if Oversand can't do something at some big numbers here tonight.
And keep an eye on that first race today, because as we mentioned, Fergus MHF finished a couple of notches ahead of Easter Dude if Easter Dude runs well, it may bode better for him because, like I said, the runner-up in that October 23rd race last time stunk it up, in my opinion. So that race could be marginal, but Monsafir comes out of a nice race behind RB Badonkadonk, who's a really nice filly. If not, she's not the best in her own barn, but compared to everybody else, she's very good. And then Majid Storm, has been around, has been in some stakes, has lit the board a few times, so she's another one to keep an eye on. Rich Vibes, the one, takes the blinkers off, but just, boy, his last two races have not been very good. We'll see if he can turn that around. Okay, that's it for this portion of the program. Thanks a lot for joining us. 28 minutes to post for the first, and enjoy your Thursday evening here at Lone Star Park.
In the event of an emergency, Lone Star Park is dedicated to ensuring the safety of our patrons. This video illustrates the proper evacuation